Good evening and Merry Christmas, Tri-State area. And this morning, we may have for you your first Christmas present of the day. News has reached us that yesterday marked for many the true official end of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, as its leader, Boris Yeltsin, officially declared Russia as the Soviet Union's successor state within the United Nations. While it may only have been officially declared yesterday, the former Soviet Union had been dead in the water for a long time. It has been bleeding member nations for the past 2 years, and growing unrest and discontent due to a stagnating economy has forced the government to move away from their communist policies and values. We only received this news a few hours ago, so everything we talk about will be somewhat surface level. Should you wish to learn more on the subject, we have a deep dive slotted for 8 p.m. tonight, so you can tune in then. A correspondent of ours, Vincentchenko, has been following the developments for the past several years, and he has volunteered some of his time this morning to talk to us. Here he is now. Sorry to bother you this early on Christmas morning, but this is definitely very big news.
Oh, it's no problem, and it is certainly very big news. Not just for us, but for the whole world. This transformation makes the official end of the era of the Soviet Union, and while most have seen this coming for the better part of the year, it is still quite a momentous occasion.
Would you mind giving everyone watching this morning a rundown on the events leading up to this over the past year and a half or so?
Well, over the past 2 years, almost countries previously under the Soviet sphere of influence have been declaring independence from the USSR. Lithuania declared independence last spring, Georgia was in April of this year, Estonia and Latvia both left during the attempted coup in August. And after Gorbachev's weakness truly showed, nations began dropping out like flies. The Ukraine left only a few days after the coup, and the remaining nations left over the past few months, with Kazakhstan being the last one on 16th earlier this month. And then, of course, yesterday, Yeltsin declared Russia the Soviet Union's successor state, really signaling the end.
Thank you, Vincent. Now, we go to a short interview with Mr. Vorontsov, the former Soviet Union representative, now Russian representative to the United Nations. Hello, Mr. Vorontsov. Thank you for doing this interview. We know how busy you must be right now, so we'll keep this short.
No problem, thank you for having me.
Today, it is my understanding that you handed over to the Secretary General a sample of the Russian flag that will be raised in place of the old Soviet flag. Can you describe the experience?
It really was a historic moment. The Soviet flag has been flown for longer than most can remember, and the act of lowering it feels somewhat surreal. However, I do believe the change is a good step forward for everyone.
Now that Russia has taken the USSR's place in the UN, the former members of the USSR, excluding Russia, have no representation in the UN. How do you expect these nations to move forward?
The other republics will most likely apply for membership at a special session of the General Assembly that will be held next February. UN membership will be key to move everyone into the 21st century as it quickly approaches.
Thank you so much for that interview. We know how busy you are, Mr. Representative. From everyone here at the studio, I'd like to say Merry Christmas, have a wonderful day, and we'll let you know more on the subject at 8 p.m.